High-performance road bikes must have a 4-cylinder engine, an alloy beam frame and lots of flashy, brightly coloured graphics, right? Wrong. This is the Ducati ST4S, the bike that just rewrote the rulebook. The ST4S is the latest addition to Ducati's sports tourer range, though if your idea of a sports tourer is more gold-winged than track bike, you could be in for a shock with this one. Ducati's approach to tourers is to take their stunning 996 sports bike, raise the handlebars and screen a couple of inches, widen the seat and stick a set of panniers in the accessory catalogue. This bike is definitely at the sports end of the spectrum, but concessions to rider comfort and practicality have resulted in a usable, thrilling and taut bike that actually makes a lot of sense on the road. The riding position gives a semi-racing crouch with quite a high seat that invites you to wrap yourself around this elegantly sculpted petrol tank. The handlebars are quite low down and set quite wide, and the footrests are quite well back, so you do get really tucked into this bike. The mirrors work really well too, being mounted low and wide enough to give a really good view of the world receding rapidly backwards. There's plenty of ground clearance, while the narrowish screen keeps most of the wind blast off the rider, just your head and shoulders left to the mercy of the elements. But the real heart and soul of this bike is that magnificent engine. Last year's ST4 used a legendary 916 motor, but based on the philosophy that more is, well, more, Ducati have gone the whole hog and bolted the 996 engine into the ST4S. And what a lump it is. The 996cc water-cooled V-twin, or L-twin, as Ducati insist in their sales brochures, uses fuel injection, 4-valve heads, 11:1 compression ratios and the legendary desmodromic valve operation to pump out a meaty 117 brake horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque. And this is in a bike weighing in at only 204 kilograms. Power comes in strongly from 3000 RPM and continues to surge as the revs climb, propelling the bike forwards in an adrenaline rush of power that broadens your grin from ear to ear. The price you pay for this is a slight lumpiness at low speed, and the motor does sound clattery at tickover with some noise from the clutch. But low speed isn't what this bike is about. Get it out of town and onto the open road, and you can forgive it everything as it demolishes mile after mile with supreme confidence. That confidence is rooted in the bike's handling. Ducati's gorgeous trellis frame is a direct response to what the Italians see as the crude approach favoured by the Japanese with their alloy beam frames. The engine on this bike is mounted as a stressed member, and the whole plot gives big solid mountings for the twin-sided aluminium swinging arm at the rear and the 43mm upside-down forks at the front. Ducati aren't shy of sourcing the best components. The forks are titanium nitrided Showas, and the rear suspension comes from Öhlins with preload and damping adjustable from the rider's seat. The brakes too are arguably the best on the market. The twin Brembo Goldline calipers and floating discs capable of hauling the bike down from warp speed with a G-force sufficient to wrap you hard against a reassuringly sculpted fuel tank. Styling-wise, the bike is elegant but rather understated, the rather muted metallic grey finish in our test bike looking a little bland. Purchasers requiring something a little flashier may be tempted by the alternative bright red or yellow options. If you're looking for a thoroughbred high-performance all-rounder with real touring ability, take a good look at the Ducati ST4S. Loads of power, loads of torque and that wonderful Ducati roar. Open the throttle and pretend you're Carl Fogarty. Only marred by low-speed lumpiness which can catch you out in the wrong gear around town. Quick steering, taut handling and the best brakes in the business. For performance, 9 out of 10. The seat's a bit hard and some may find these low handlebars induce wrist aches in traffic, but hey, you weren't expecting the comfort of a Harley-Davidson Electroglide with a bike like this, were you? This is a sports bike with touring capabilities and it feels like one. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10 for comfort. Italian quality control hasn't always been the best in years gone by, but things are much improved these days. This bike is well put together and the quality of finish is good. The mirror stems feel a little delicate and I wouldn't expose the engine to too much winter salt, but keeping the bike clean is part of the bonding process that many owners will relish. Build quality, 7 out of 10. Listed at £8,650, you can currently pick an ST4 like this up for £8,500, and that puts it square against the Blackbird, the Triumph Sprint ST and the Hayabusa. You get a lot of bike for your money with the Ducati, and it's got a racetrack heritage, and you also get some of the best cycle parts in the world. This bike is less likely to depreciate quite as much as a Japanese bike would. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 for value. This bike's a thoroughbred, a real rider's machine for the man or woman who takes their biking seriously and who wears wraparound shades while doing it. For street cred, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.